Hitting record, and today's show is Thursday, May 16th, and this is how it's going to go. It's just Dan and Fred and myself, and of course you, the most important part of this equation. Did you want to, what are we doing? You wanted to say the C word a lot and rub our rockets. Is that what you want to do to start the show?
This was what I recommended. Prior to the 7:30 start,
That's
say
right.
the C word a lot. Now I'm saying the C word, but
Well, I just said the C word.
Did you say?
I just said
I
the
know.
C word, yeah.
But no, I'm saying the C word as opposed to the actual word is what I'm saying.
Right. 5 minutes ago, I said, we've got 5 minutes to kill. And you said, let's just say the C word a lot. And then when you got tired of that bit, you said, then let's just rub our rockets.
Yes. Got to get you through the morning.
That's, here's the thing. There's lots of, men and women our age. Maybe they're still working in offices and having meetings. Believe me, that's not how their meetings are started. None of them are saying, well, we're a little bit early. Anyone want to rub some rockets while we say the C word?
Rub my rocket. Isn't that's an interesting...
Interesting. Interesting.
That prior to being recorded,
Yeah.
I said the C word, but I actually said the word. Once
Yeah.
I was conscious of being recorded, instead of saying the word, I said the C word. Isn't that something?
Well,
Why
I'm-
can't here in North America we bring ourselves to say the word?
Listen, I've still got PTSD from the first show 12 and a half years ago where I said it a couple times.
No, I know.
And then you never let me live it down. You're like, vile and dull, disgusted.
No, because there was no need for it. It was like you went out of your way to say it.
Yeah.
It was disingenuous.
Well, no, that's not true. I was trying to make a point.
If you use the C word, it's just got to roll like you're a Brit, right? Like you're a...
Well, why don't you show
not
us?
a Brit. I'm not
Why
a
don't
Brit.
you show us? Here's the thing.
Okay.
If you put on a British accent, is it then okay to say it?
Let's try. Well, I think you're just a stupid cunt. Oh, it works.
Yeah, but
No,
you
without
didn't
an
really
accent.
say it. It's like almost like Mary Poppins. Yes, I just want to say you're a bit of a cunt. Dan, your
that's
turn.
Good. That's good.
Yeah, not doing it. Anyway.
Whoa. What do you mean? No, we're doing an improvisation, Dan.
Right, but
Well, Dan, okay, so let's recreate this. So
He's a gem. He's a gem. He's a gem.
okay. All right.
He's not saying it. We're doing we're like performance artists right now.
Yeah, I
and
know.
he doesn't want to. He doesn't want to get on the stage, Howard.
Yeah,
He
we're
doesn't
like
want to get on the stage.
performance artists.
We would never say that word without English.
We're like Fart de Soleil. That's who we are. That's our fucking performance artists. So Dan, if you put on an English accent, it makes saying the C word.
Okay.
See, in my Canadian voice, I can't say it. But if I put on my Scouse voice, I can say, "Don't be such a fucking cunt."
yeah,
See?
I
See?
get it. Yeah, they do. They
Freddie,
do say it.
Freddie,
a
you
lot.
show him. Freddie, you show him.
Please, sir, will you stop being such a vile cunt?
I thought why can't you stop saying "coont"?
Okay. Did I say cunt?
Yes,
Okay.
coont. I thought you were going to do
part
Oliver
of my
Twist.
accent. That's the type of
Oh,
accent
okay.
I have.
I
It's
thought
from
it-
the area of England where they say cunt
Coont,
instead
okay.
of cunt.
I think it's like I thought you were going to do Oliver Twist. Please, sir, may I have some more cunt?
I was actually good at it, but I thought, does that make sense?
I thought you should.
I was.
It's like
I was.
Oliver. Never before has a boy wanted more.
I think we should make it clear, very clear. I know you guys have mentioned it at the British, but the British do not serve this word up in the same way we do in North America. It doesn't have the same.
Yeah, and
baggage
so
with
what
it. I
we'd
think
like
you've
to-
sort of expressed it, but we haven't.
Right. Well, no. All right.
That's what
So let's say you were doing.
That's how it started.
Let's say you were Dan Duran, British anchorman. How would that sound
say that.
when you
Let's
say,
just start
"I'm
the
Dan Duran. Welcome to the evening news. Listen up, cunts."
Yeah.
That's actually kind of funny, but no.
Oh, thanks.
That's the point.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that.
making me laugh. But no.
Like, see, Dan won't do it. Dan, this is his bit. See, in the world of improv, you're supposed to yes and. So Fred and I are yes anding each other, and when it comes to you, you're like, no, go fuck yourselves.
So Dan, here's the thing. You actually brought it up, or oh no, the C word thing.
Bring
I
it
brought.
up.
You brought it up.
No, you brought up the fact that in Britain it's freely used, but it's not here. You brought up that fact after I had used it before the show. You made that observation. I said, yeah, like when I was in Britain in 2019, it was funny to be in situations and people just drop it like we drop the F word, the F-bombs. Fuck. So what we're doing now is sort of licensed to say it. So please, Dan, put on an English accent.
Come on, Dan.
And say that.
Come on.
Here's a song called You Are a Cunt.
Come what may, I try to do unto others as I'd have them do to me. But it can't be done for everyone, and now it's plain to see. You are a cunt, 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 cunt. A big fat stinking cunt. Say it ain't true, but I'm here to tell you your mother.
And this is by the artist, Cat McSnatch.
Is it really? I love that.
You're a big fat stinking cunt. I try to be real nice.
See, there you go, Dan.
Be real nice, even
Well, I don't know what we could do. I don't know what we could say. I would like to know why you don't want to go along with this, which I would say already a classic Humble and Fred bit.
That would be my question. Why do you not want to utter that word?
I just feel uncomfortable doing that.
Yeah, okay.
Myself, got
So
women in my life who are, might feel a little bit weirded about it. So I think
whoa.
We don't?
What, you don't think we have women in our lives that... Here's the difference, is the women in our lives would understand that we're doing a bit. You don't think the women in your lives would understand you're doing a
they
bit?
probably would, yeah. They probably would.
Wait a minute. Let's all correct that. The main woman in my life, well, the two women, my wife and my daughter, they will never hear this bit.
Exactly.
So I don't have to worry.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I would say this, though. Melanie... No, both of them.
No, Mel doesn't. No,
No,
like
but
hearing her dad.
No, I know. But here's the thing. On an intellectual level, Melanie and Delise are too smart not to have gotten this little thing that we're not only we're doing the bit, now we're dissecting the bit, because I guarantee you, both of
Dan.
Yes, exactly. And Dan's like, well, there are women in my life that would not understand. Do. That's the Dan Duran thing. Beep doo doo. Dan just beepity doo, beepity doodly doodly beepity doo. The Dan Duran.
Let's not beat up on Dan now.
I'm not.
Okay.
Why don't we start the show?
Okay.
Should
we have a...
nice, say it twice.
Wait a
Good
minute.
advice, even though it's futile.
I'm sorry.
Should we have a little more separation between that and sponsor mentions? Should we talk about something serious?
Here's the thing: if you're a sponsor of this program, if you're a listener of this program, the last 8 minutes they're not out of character. They're completely in keeping with the Humble and Fred brand.
Okay,
you're a new listener.
If you're a new listener,
it was good having you for a couple of minutes.
That's right. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in.
All right. Well, you want a little separation? This is what yesterday's preparation sheet looks like. Very similar to today's. And what I usually do is I take the things we didn't get to yesterday and I just transfer them to today's program. Plus, I've got a file or two open that corresponds with it. But Dan, I was going to show you before the show, but I had written something down. You see where I've circled that? Yes. And at the end of the show yesterday, I looked at it and I had written it. It's sort of 6:00 in the morning, and I still can't.
I looked at it.
I know what it is. I just got it. Northern Lights. God damn it. Right. I had written down, because what it looks like here is Nethy Lightly, but it's Northern Lights. Did you guys, that was the big story.
Yes.
And it came and went in my life. I didn't see them, but I thought you guys might be up north, or you northern people. Was that a big deal for you, the Northern Lights?
Huge deal up here.
Yeah.
Tons of people I know saw them. I went out a couple of... Where?
Yeah.
In Peterborough. There's some people in Peterborough. There's some people at the end of the lake here. They posted on one of the websites around here. One of the social kind of gathering places here. There was somebody that took a picture up the lake here that had northern lights. There was a bunch
I thought
of
it was
people on Stony
overcast
Lake.
here.
It was when I looked. Both nights there was possibles, and I didn't see a thing. It was overcast, especially right from my angle where the northern lights were coming from. But I saw other pictures of like Stony Lake, the next lake. To Lovesick Lake where we are. They had spectacular pictures over there, but yeah, it was cloudy here. But it was a major that was a huge deal throughout North America.
It was, and I just being honest, because this is in real talk, I had to read about it after the fact. I never thought about it, didn't hear about it, and it
You've seen
passed
them
me.
before,
No, I have. I'm from Saskatchewan, for crying out loud.
Even in Brampton, I looked out the back window of my place, but I couldn't see anything but a Kirpan fight. That was about all I could see.
In the sky?
No, over in the corner.
No, I
looked up. I couldn't see. I couldn't see any.
There's a Kirpan fight. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think it's cute that you're. I think it's cute that you're worried about your little Kirpan fights there in Brampton. Meanwhile,
What?
No, I don't want to get into it. No, I don't want to get into it. I want to keep things light here today.
No, get into it.
No, I don't want to because, the fucking...
Because there's a lot more going on in the world than a little Kirpan skirmish.
Well, there's a lot more. Listen, here's Kirpan skirmishes. Here's Jew hate. Yeah, but anyway.
Right. Let's get into it.
Let's...
now we have to put more distance between us and the sponsors.
Wait, no, Dan. Just for your information, so far there's only been a couple of comments on the Facebook stream. I just wanted to check that it was working. First of all, the only people that have checked in so far, it looks like, are a couple of females, Dan. Shannon Blasky Bernard, in response to our little bit that we just did. Mm-hmm. Hilarious.
Well, she's a very smart woman.
See, exactly.
She can... she realizes it's not a nice word, but in the context that we presented it today, it moved to a different category. So, Dan, please say it in an English.
That's right. Mm-hmm. So let's review the things that Dan won't do. Dan will not kill Hitler.
No.
And will not go along with the C word bit. And by the way, I disagree with something you just said.
What did I say?
When you say it's not a nice word, it's just...
a nice word.
Well, again, there's 60 million people in the UK that think of it as just a word. It's like, it's just a word.
Well, is fuck a nice word?
Yeah.
It's a nice word.
What makes it not, what makes something nice or not is just an opinion. It depends. Are there not circumstances where that word is nice? Like when you're,
yes.
What did you call it? When you're rubbing your rocket, didn't you fuck? When you do it.
No.
When you're doing
context, you're making love,
No, when you're rubbing your rocket, okay, man, I guess you call it when you're making self-love, yeah. Dan, would you have been more comfortable if we'd spent 10 minutes talking about rubbing one's rocket?
Did you know, Howard, that Moose Jaw really is a winner? The Moose Jaw Warriors, he's just
doing his silly dander.
The Ed Chenoweth Cup yesterday, 4-2, win. Western Conference champion. They're doing it. Against the West, so they're champs now. So they're going on. The Warriors will proceed to the Western Hockey League Memorial Cup. So you've got a Moose Jaw team to cheer for in the next little while.
They're going to the Memorial Cup.
So it's not just the Western Hockey League. They won the WHL and now are going to play in the Memorial Cup.
Yeah, that's what.
Which this year is in the United States. I believe in Saginaw. Are you going to go, Howard?
Saginaw, Michigan? Mm-hmm. Are you kidding me? I'm going to fly to Regina, get on the Moose Jaw Warrior fan bus, and then come back across the country. All the while rubbing my rocket and saying the C word. All right, Dan. You win.
Go over well.
Yeah.
This episode of Humble and Fred is being broadcast to the world from our state-of-the-art Humble and Fred studio in Toronto, from our Lovesick Lake mobile facility with a view of the Kawarthas, and from a trailer next to it with the Danis Duranis bust. I'm Dan Duran, broadcasting live from the Leanna M. Scott Zoom Theater, and brought to you by the Retirement Sherpa, the Chambers Plan, Boron One, Bodog, and Lender's Choice Mortgages. And now, here are two men who long for the tacky plastic patio lantern days instead of the now trendy bare light that used to be used for construction sites. It's Humble and Fred.
Look at that, Brad.
Thank you, Daniel.
I have a story here that sort of goes with rubbing your rocket.
Oh, I can't wait.
Sometimes. In New York City and in Dublin, Ireland, they had these, what they call portals. And there were big round circles in the street. And if you stood in front of it, you could see live streaming what was going on in New York. In New York, you can look through live streaming and see what's going on in Dublin, Ireland. Just a neat thing, a touristy thing. Like you walk up and, oh, look at, there's people walking down the street in Dublin and vice versa. Well, apparently they've had to shut it down because of all the lewd behavior. Leave it to people, right?
Yeah, it doesn't take people
They've had
long.
to shut this thing down, really, because people are standing in front of it and pulling their pants down, hanging moons, rubbing their rockets, and they have to shut it down. A great idea.
Well, that's what people, people left to their own devices. We just devolved to rubbing one's rocket. That's what we do.
And Bad Apple, Select Few, you think of all the thousands of people that would have seen that, enjoyed it, be fascinated by it. Those who could maybe never get the opportunity to travel. And just because of a few people, they have to shut it down.
Question, though, was it people on both sides of the portal?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Both sides, yeah.
Absolutely. Of course. But I mean, but there is this, okay, listen, when we were younger folk, when you're full of piss and vinegar, whatever that means.
Yeah.
You can't say that in your pranking young man stage that you wouldn't walk by a portal and just be like, hey, maybe hang a moon. In the 70s, people were like streaking events or just driving through the streets, hanging their ass out the car.
But the weird thing about this, without the portal, would you hang your dick out, or would you do, hang a moon or whatever? But people were it thrilled people to think they could do this and have it, broadcast or streamed across the big pond. Like that just added to the moment or something, or added to the... Anyway, they shut it down. And
see, that's because it's too bad because there was, like you say, there were probably people enjoying it, and they were walking by and they were like, "Oh, I can look and see what's happening in New York City," and then all of a sudden they see some guy just jerking himself off, holding up a C. I'm saying the C word. Here's a story that I forgot, but I was just reminded. And what's on your arm, by the way, Fred?
That's a Band-Aid. I jabbed myself yesterday.
There's quite a few scrapes on that one arm.
Well, what I was doing, Howard, the shrubs, the front here, at the front of my trailer, I was thinning them out yesterday because of all the dead stuff over the winter. And a couple of times I reached in and they jabbed me. They're sharp. And they got me. Look at that.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Are you sure that wasn't from some vigorous rocket rubbing?
Yeah.
So on the weekend, I was called in as a kind of like a teledoc system, as a remote doctor. I was asked for my opinion on a certain medical emergency that Dan Duran, a budding first responder, was part of. A friend of ours, better known by our audience as the Yee guy, this guy, Darren, he had a giant gash. That's what she said. Had a giant gash on his head, and Dan Duran was part of it. So Dan, why don't you, if you don't mind? I mean, if this is the kind of thing, I don't want to upset the women in your life by having you tell a story, but why don't you tell us what happened and then what the intervention was?
Well, the whole point of the morning was that we were going to lower Darren's dock. It's on a crank system, and you have to do a bunch of stuff. And he was crawling around underneath his deck where he stores things, and managed to hit his head really hard against one of the I don't know, something in the ceiling of the deck, under the deck there, and opened up a pretty long, like maybe 1.5 inches long wound.
Yeah, very deep in his head, in his forehead.
Yeah, and he was bleeding all over the place, and now then because I'm the closest person that he knew around here at the time, so he called me and said, "Hey, can you can I help me? I don't think I can."
Wait a second, so you weren't there helping him put the dock or the boat in? Oh, so you were called over? I see.
What?
Right?
Really? Oh, I thought you were on site. So why did he call you?
Because he didn't think. He just wanted his second opinion, and he didn't think that it was worth getting an ambulance or anything, but he also didn't think he could drive himself to the hospital holding his head with his
Lori
hand.
wasn't there?
Nope. So it's just me.
Oh.
So I went over there just because that's exactly what I was going to do, is drive him to the hospital. But going to a hospital, it's in Peterborough, so it's half an hour away from here, plus whatever the wait time is in the hospital, plus you're in a hospital where there's lots of diseases floating around. So he just didn't want to go to the hospital mainly, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was there, and
hold on. What were you saying?
I was going to say, fuck hospitals. They only save people's lives. Yeah,
go ahead. Although, if I may just interject, it is in consideration. If it's one of those things where before you drive yourself to the hospital, you have to decide, is whatever's wrong with me worth the potential next day or so that I'm going to spend there? And as far as germs, there's germs everywhere. Dan, please continue. First responder Dan Durant.
So I when I got the call, I thought, well, this is something that Howard should deal with, but he's too far away. So honestly, I kept thinking about you being the kind of doctor that you are.
Mexican doctor,
and you've dealt with situations before. So I just go over there and just take a look at it. It wasn't as deep as I thought it was originally, and the photo makes it look a little bit worse than it was. But it was a choice for him because I knew there was going to be a scar. And he had to choose whether or not for the rest of his life he was going to have a scar on his forehead that may be a little bit worse if you don't get the stitches. And so we, worked on it. He didn't have any supplies there like steri strips or anything.
Steri strips are those sort of butterfly looking. They're called. They look like butterfly stitches. They're sort of. They're kind of like stitches or staples.
Yeah, they just want to pull you. You're trying to pull the skin back together again.
Yes.
Right.
As opposed to what you're doing now, which is pulling your skin while this bit's going on.
Right.
Ignorant.
So anyway, we drove into a drugstore and asked the druggist his opinion.
Yeah.
And he said the same thing I said, actually. So, okay, I'm going down the right track here. And then we bought all his supplies, a bunch of steri strips and, polysporin and everything. And then I went back to Darren's place and then did all this work. By this time, the bleeding had stopped. Otherwise, I think if we can stop the bleeding, that would have been a hospital visit. But it was like he put pressure on it for a while, and I think you would have. And then you saw the result pictures, right?
Well, I saw what you did, and what you did looked great. And but what Darren sent me or us on our little group chat was a picture of the actual wound before you dressed it. And the first thing I said was, "Go get some stitches." And the reason is, most people get this mixed up, and I used to before my training. If something's really bleeding, especially on the head, it usually means you don't need stitches. And what I mean by that is because on your skin around your head or whatever, the capillaries are really close to the skin. So very often it bleeds more than, it bleeds a lot because there's a lot of blood vessels there. But if you ever get a cut somewhere and it's sort of deep and it's not bleeding, it's usually means not bleeding profusely. It usually means you should get some stitches because it's gone past that capillary layer. It's gone past the surface layer of the skin. Yeah, that's right. Make a face. Make a Fred's looking at me like. That's true.
No, this is very interesting. The fact that you know that impresses me. That's
that's why when I saw the picture, I said to Darren, it looks like it's a deep below the surface cut, and then I talked to him, and he went just basically say what Dan said. I said, listen, dude, if you don't care. He's a 62-year-old guy. If you don't care that you're going to have a little scar there, then, you don't. Like, you only need stitches certainly on the face, if you want to minimize the scarring.
Yeah, it'll be covered up by an age spot before he knows it.
That's right. Or a funky hat,
Big brown
or
age spot. Yeah.
That's right. It'll be some melanoma forming thing.
Yeah.
We were talking about how much bleeding there was, and I even brought you up. I said Howard had spent some time in Calgary, close to Stampede Wrestling people, the
That's
Hearts.
right.
And that's when I found out that, because in the olden days of that kind of wrestling, they used to bleed a lot, and they would do
They would cut themselves
before they got out onto the mat.
I don't know. It must not have come up on this show, because I've had that conversation recently that wrestlers, why they do it is they have a little pin, they keep it, and in the bleeder match, they usually have one match a night where they cut themselves across the forehead, and because first of all, it bleeds easily, and it looks great when it sort of bleeds down into your eyes. So anyway,
another reason I never, ever, ever could get into that. It was fascinated me by the people that got into that wrestling, like followed it and went down to the gardens to see it and paid money and watched it on television. I mean, that story alone is like, why? Well, anyway.
Entertainment, Freddie. Entertainment. Dan, you did a great job, though. I saw the work, and
nice
I would like to congratulate you. It was well dressed, and from what I could see in the picture, you took care of the patient. And I would, now we'll rely on you if I ever need an assistant on a first responding job.
Yeah. Well, I'm only trained up on small cuts. So
that's all right. Well, you of all people, no one's treated themselves more than you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I try to keep myself down to one cut a day.
When you guys were telling that story yesterday about how you both just were sort of bleeding randomly.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
Yeah. And Dan actually said that while we were both bleeding. He goes, well, I'm usually good for one a day.
That's right. To Dan, it's no big deal. Oh, I'm bleeding again.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's very well done. And Darren, I haven't talked to him since the weekend. I'm sure it's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, I went over there yesterday, I guess. I've lost track of time. And looked at it again, and it seems he wants to take it off. And I said, I want to leave it on for a while, because the whole point is.
So had Lori gone home, or was she just afraid of it all?
No, she hadn't arrived yet.
No, hadn't arrived yet. Okay.
Yeah, just like Doll hadn't come up because she was spending time with her mom.
So
Stay.
we are seeing him tonight. We're going to a performance of Lisa's stage play at the Peterborough Theatre Guild.
Nice.
Yes. Little dinner beforehand. So I'll see Darren's head, and I'll see Lisa on stage.
Fantastic. Is this the final weekend of the performance?
It is. The last few days. The last Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Final performance.
And not to put you on the spot, Dan, this is purely for information purposes. Well, I have two questions. They often talk about athletes before a big game, or famously boxers, in Rocky, Burgess Meredith told Rocky not to have sex before a fight because he said, women weaken legs or some shit like that. Is that,
yeah.
It's one of those things, let that Burgess Meredith guy, is Lisa off limits during the run of the play?
Not during the run of the play. But we're there never before, but we never discuss it because we never, kind of are daytimers anyway. So
I'm sorry. Whatever
was that answer?
whatever that word salad was. I'm sorry, Dan. What?
Well, what you're saying is okay, do you not have sex for 3 weeks while the show?
Yes, this is what I want to know during the run of the show.
Yeah.
What I was saying was, we really haven't got. I would put it more just before the performance.
Oh,
so no on that one.
Oh, I see.
Do you give her one of those speeches like in Rocky? You've got to eat lightning and crap thunder. Do you do that to you? Okay, my second question is, because I don't want to make you uncomfortable any more than you already are. Is there a tradition of like opening night flowers or closing night something in the theater? I don't know.
Kind of closing night flowers, but I haven't done that yet because she hasn't closed it. It's a good idea, actually, probably. So,
Thanks for you gave him an idea. Howard.
Well, because if you have been abstaining during the performance of this play, you might want to throw a little flower action at them.
That might be an idea. Yeah, good idea.
So that she feels all warm and fuzzy toward you after the performance is over.
Speaking of which, today, going out to have something to eat and then going to the play is part of, it's part of Delisa's birthday celebration. It's her birthday today.
Aww.
It's birthday. So
Dolly.
I have a card, but I have Howard. She doesn't listen. So no matter what you say to her, she's not going to hear it. Long ago, she gave up on this show.
Yeah, but you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give her a little shout later. I can do that.
Okay.
I'll just put that right here on my hand.
So I have a card, but I don't have a present for her because she wants a Blue Jays hoodie, and it wasn't available yet. So the agreement is that next Jays game we go to in a week or so, we're going to go in, and if the hoodie's there, we're going to buy it for her. That's acceptable, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't know. I tell you what you don't want to do is play her the first 5 minutes of this show. Hey, doll, I've got a surprise for you.
Maybe I shouldn't. She'll say, I don't want anything from you. Maybe that's what I should do.
Yeah, just say, hey, I don't know what's funnier or what's worse. You saying the C word or you guys talking about rubbing Mariah?
You should give her a $1,000 golf certificate. I don't know where you'd get one of those.
Yeah, for $500 you can have a $1,000 golf because
yeah. But you should probably give her a picture or a drawing of the do something creative to represent the hoodie that you're going to buy. So
that's a great idea.
I'm going to buy one.
Yeah, great idea.
So it looks like you thought about it rather than I couldn't get one, so
next clip it out of a catalog or something.
Exactly, and then paste it into your card like a 7-year-old.
Oh, right, like a 7-year-old.
Just draw it.
Yeah.
No, that's very good. So, Dan, I encourage you, if when the curtain comes down
on Saturday night,
you should have some flowers for Lisa,
something,
or some chocolates. Briefly before we get into our emails today, most people who have listened to the program know that I golf occasionally, and Wednesdays is as a sort of a running gag with our friend Tim Niblett. He always calls it we call it Ladies' Day, or you call it. Somehow it became Ladies' Day. It's actually Men's Day. Well, the point is, rarely do I stay anymore to have the dinner after the round because Stan's been on his own, and I don't like him to wait that long to eat. But last night I had dinner there for the first time this year. So I stayed for usually they have like a barbecue, and it's pretty reasonable for like $30. It's all you can eat. And the problem with it for me, I remember why. The other reason I don't partake in this is because I have zero governor when it comes to going back and getting more. So on the barbecue, here's all they had. They had beautiful potato salad, coleslaw, this corn, sort of a corn vinaigrette type of, a dish. We'll call it a dish. And then they had chicken thighs and pork loin on the barbecue.
Oh, wow.
And most people would go up and fill their plate and then sit down and eat it. And then that would be the end of it. But not the How Man. Not the How Man. I went, filled my plate, then I went back up, and I got about, say, 2/3 of the original plate, pork loin and a chicken thigh. Then I went back a third time and just got a chicken.
Third time?
Oh yeah, just got a chicken thigh.
Yeah,
the third time, came back down, and then I forgot that there was also cookies and Rice Krispie squares type of thing, and fudgy things and brownie things, and so I went up and got some of those, Dan. At the same time, got another chicken thigh. So that's why Grandpa can't have all you can eat access to any. I'm done with it now. I'm done.
Yeah, but if you're, I told you I was at Mandarin Friday night. I went up 4 times, but each time my plate, again, that whole phenomenon of people at all you can eat, and their initial plate is piled up like stuff falling off, and I don't get that because you can keep going back up. I went up like 4 times, but each time, each plate looked like a normal person. So I'm sure each plate wasn't crammed, was it?
Well, no. Here's the thing. The first plate that I got had the potato salad, no coleslaw, had the corn thing, had, Caesar salad, a pork loin, a nice piece, like a normal size, and a chicken thigh. Mm-hmm. That would have been what you would have been served at any restaurant. That would have been enough. That would have been your dinner. Mm-hmm. Not for the how man.
Not for the how man.
Not for the how man. I kept going back.
The pork is against your Jewish faith.
Well, that's it. And you know what I did though?
Yes.
Is I went up there and I put a napkin on my head and I said a Hanukkah. That's what I did. I prayed to the Jewish God of pork, and he said, "You know what, how man? You played pretty good today. You go ahead and have some pork."
Yeah.
The people you were sitting with, were they,
they're just guys. They're guys like me. They went up a bunch of times too. Sure. Everybody went up.
Sure. Same crowd, and they had enough stuff because they knew you guys were going to be.
We were all doing the same thing.
Give yourself a break. You don't do that very often. So when the occasion pops up that you can do something like that, you go for it. You're going to be dead soon.
You have no idea.
Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind.
Listen, you're talking to the original. I'm going to be dead soon guy. How do you look how I've lived my life? So, yes, I wasn't the only one, and I certainly wasn't drinking. So I always give that. I always say to myself, well, you're not drinking, so you can have 14 fucking chicken thighs.
By the way, guys at golf clubs and just going out for a couple of beers. See, they announced yesterday that on first violation of drinking and driving, you're going to have that thing put in your ignition. They're trying to push that. Can you imagine what a life changer? Forget the insurance, forget the shame, forget the costs. You're going to have one of those, what do they call them, ignition interrupters or something in your car on first offense. And if you kill somebody drinking and driving, you'll never be able to drive in the province again, which I thought was already in place, but isn't.
Okay, we'll go back to the ignition interrupter thing. I think I understand what it is conceptually, but what does it do? So you're saying if you've had one... Yeah, so you have to blow into it or your car won't start.
Yes, yeah. It's called an ignition interlock. Will be put on your car first offense. So, it's, you sit at a golf, listen, I do it a couple, just imagine that, a round of golf and you have a beer and then maybe 2, and then there's guys that might have 3 or 4 and never really think that, they would blow over. That could be a game changer. You're really going to have to be, responsible people are going to really become conscious with these new laws that are coming in.
When you say first offense, like somebody who gets charged with drinking and driving and convicted.
Yes, before you get your license back, you would have to have this installed
for a period of time. For how long? Or
it doesn't say. Maybe forever.
Really?
I don't know.
Yeah. After a year, you get it taken off. Well, whatever. You're right. There's nobody in my sort of immediate group that drinks a lot during the round. I mean, like no one I played with yesterday had a beer during the round, but I play with some guys that have maybe 1.
Yeah.
Maybe 2. But I look around and, last night's no exception. I look around and there are people I know that have had 3 or 4 or 5 during the round. The round only takes 4.5 hours.
Right.
So I guess their theory is, they're having basically a beer an hour. And then after it's over, they have a glass of wine and another beer. And by the way, I'm not singling out that group of people. I would say at every one of those functions, there's people absolutely that would blow over.
The point is, how do you ever really know if you do that on the course, have a few beers and then during dinner have a bit more? How are you ever really sure of where you sit as far as, blood alcohol level sits? And again, my point is this probably is going to make people a little more conscious, and so it should. If the penalties become very severe, But then again, I guess a lot of these drunk driving accidents and deaths are from irresponsible people that it wouldn't matter what the law was, they would still do it.
A buddy of ours figured it out a long time ago. Best friend Dave. He doesn't drink, that much anymore because he loves his weed. Mm-hmm. But for what Dave did, to just answer your question, is he got a device and a breathalyzer, sort of and a good one, like a pretty high end one. Mm-hmm. And he would never get in his car. He would blow it into it to make sure that if he'd had a couple of beer, that he wouldn't blow over.
Well, they should encourage everyone to have one of those. I mean, seriously, that's a good tool to have because that shows you're conscious.
Right.
Number one, you don't want to get charged. Number two, you don't want to hurt anybody. You don't want to be in an accident. So within yourself, if you can tell yourself that, hey, I'm okay or I'm not, that's a good little tool. I think everyone should have.
And again, it's what smart people would do.
Yeah.
So to outline, as you just said, Dan, we're going to get to our emails. I don't want you to go yet, though. And I'm not going to go through the whole intro and hi, guys, for this particular email because it's some content. This is from... I have it written down. It's from, Richard Jackson sent us this specifically for you, Daniel. I don't have the original email, but I do have the piece of content. And I think the email was just something like, this is a great song for Dan Duran. And I think it's self-explanatory.
It's your own damn fault. You're so damn fat. It's just like when your grandpappy's lungs turned black. That was his fault too. The doc told him what to do. He smoked Camels. Guess he bought the wrong pack. It ain't like a team of evil scientists through rigorous testing created the most abominable snacks.
It's a song about being fat, man.
Grinding critters and chemicals up in a factory. Now your hand is stuck inside of the sack. Well, it's your own damn fault. You're so damn fat. Coca-Cola just walked in with the results. They did a self-investigation like a Florida sheriff station, so you know they won't be found at fault.
Anyway, Dan, he thought you would enjoy this song about it's your own damn fault that you're fat. So,
well, that's really nice too. Thank you. Can't wait to play that around the campfire.
Yeah. So there you go. Thank you, Richard Jackson. I thought there would be more fat in that song.
Are you going to listen to it?
What's that, sir?
You didn't listen to it?
I can see on the screen. There's no. It's just basically the line is, "It's your own damn fault that you're so damn fat." So maybe you could sing this to people as you see them on the street. Hey, fat person.
Okay. Thank you for that, and that was very good. Hey, we're going to change the name of the Zoom Theater today too. We've got
yes, we will be.
One of our new email correspondent types will be so honored coming up.
Yes, indeed. And Dan, you'll be back with the news, and then of course Mike Boone will be checking in. With some more audio of. People that think I'm a dish. What do you want to do? We got to do a little business here, Fredman. Let me.
Yes.
Let me find you some music. I was singing to you before the program. Mm-hmm. Let's play that.
Oh yeah, that brought back memories. Yes, it did.
Yeah, I was. I don't know. I saw this online this morning, a version of it, but it got me thinking of the Guess Who. And this classic song, She's Come Undone.
She's come
All right, Freddie.
Hey, the Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan is Canada's #1 group benefits plan for small business. Oh, yes, it is. 32,000 Canadian businesses are part of this. It's been around for 40 years, and you can become part of it too. Yeah, it doesn't matter. You got a small business, just a handful of employees. You can do this. It's designed for that, okay? 1 to 100 employees. Go to chamberplan.ca today. Click on the Get a Free Quote badge. Find out all about it, and if it looks good, you think you can pull it off, you can contact them and do what HumbleandFredRadio.com Incorporated did. became part of the chamber plan. Listen, we're a small company. It works for us. Dental, medical, travel insurance we talk about, therapies. I've used the Teladoc system when I had a growth. Oh, yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, I had a growth.
Let's go through your growth story.
The Teladoc system helped me with the growth.
Your growth spurt.
Yes. Anyway, it's the Chambers of Commerce Group Insurance Plan, Canada's #1 group benefits plan for small business, chamberplan.ca.
And I'm excited to once again be the master of ceremonies for the Chamber Plan, the big awards show tonight. I'll be handing out all the awards to the brokers from around Ontario, and it's always a fun time. I try and be as inoffensive as possible. It's not always easy, though, Fred.
No, I know.
You know?
Oh, yeah, I know. You won't say the C word, though.
No, I'm going to. That whole 5 minutes we started with, I'm just going to recreate it. You say, good evening, everybody.
No.
Is anyone rubbing their rocket? Yesterday, as I mentioned, I played golf. I had first time with our friend Mike Kazarian. What a gem that boy is. We had such a fun time laughing our heads off. And, I was with him for and the whole day and through dinner, and never once did we talk about business. But I know he's thrilled with what's happening with our audience because he's a broker owner of Lender's Choice Mortgages, operated and owned, a member of the Mortgage Alliance, license number 13582. You don't need to remember that, but you do need to remember that this is the man who has a plan for you and your next mortgage. Why? Because they don't just use the bank that you're using. They look at over 75 lenders. They shop around. They don't have any preferences to any one lender. They work with the lender that makes the most sense for you to achieve your goals. That's what it's all about. Whether it's a bank or credit union, an alternative lender, or a private lender, they'll find a solution for all your mortgage financing needs. Here's that part of the song where Burton Cummings just wails. Here we go.
She's come.
How about that? No auto-tune.
Oh, no, he's amazing. What a voice.
It's so funny because one thing, Kazarian was singing at me yesterday, and because Mike's wife is an amazing artist, a singer-songwriter, Andrea England, and she was on our show years ago talking about this show she puts on in Toronto called Four Chords and the Truth, and now it's moved to like part of Massey Hall. Anyway, Mike was saying, I try so hard to sing, but I'm tone deaf. I'm like, dude, I get it. I'll tell you what he is good at, though, is he's good at getting your mortgage done. Go to Lender's Choice Mortgage, lenderschoice.ca, or Mike at lenderschoice.ca. There you go. A lot of stuff going on in there. A lot of stuff.
Right on.
Yeah, I'm going to, I can't remember. You say every year, Fred and I, we split the duties. You do the Tanner Financial Golf Tournament. Mm-hmm. Because unfortunately, it always falls on a day that I already have something on. It's weird. Yes, you should probably, and then I MC I MC their awards. Mm-hmm. We should trade off one year. You should MC the awards. I'll go to the golf tournament.
Yeah, maybe.
You're like, nope. Nope.
Not my thing.
Oh, come on. You'd be great.
The MC stuff, not my thing. You're excellent at it. Well, yeah, that would be super. It's like, oh, where is that guy that was here last year? Why isn't he coming back? That would be the refrain.
That's what they say.
By the way, just a thought you had there, and I'd be willing to go. That $1,000 gift certificate that you won for capturing the golf championship at the Greystone.
Yes,
I'll give you $500 for it.
Well, what would you do with it?
I'd buy golf stuff.
Like what kind of golf stuff do you need?
I don't know. Like I'd buy stuff for my son, and I don't know, maybe some nice new clubs. Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about it after the show because the thing is, you can't. It's not enough to buy brand new clubs. Mm-hmm. But it's enough to buy a bunch of golf paraphernalia.
Yeah, well, let's, okay, that's for after the show.
I was going to say, we'll negotiate because, 500 was just a number.
Oh, right. You said 500.
I was just throwing it out there. I didn't know there was going to be any offers.
Oh,
I didn't know we were going to have an actual offer.
There's a little bit of an interest. Well, listen, you'd have to have a second offer to bump the price.
Well, the second offer would be from me. Yeah, I'd be willing to. You know what? I'd be willing to have that discussion. In the meantime, are you ready for this week's email spotlight? All right, here we go. No, hang on a second. No. Don't go away. Everybody, I got to turn that down. And all right, here we go, Freddie.
Hi, guys. All right, subject matter, tripping Yonge Street. This is from Johnny Sikeli. All right. Hi, guys. He says, listening to Mitch Azaria describe the premise of his Tripping the French River film reminded me of a program that aired on Global TV in the mid-'80s between 2 and 4 a.m. called Night Walk, Night Drive, Night Moves. It varied from night to night and was literally a steady cam walking, driving, or both through downtown Toronto in the 80s with a light jazz soundtrack. It was mesmerizing. I could sit and watch it from start to finish every night. Really?
Yeah.
There's even a YouTube page that has all the episodes.
That was funny. Really? That's very funny.
Johnny says, resting heart rate 85, bowel movements regular, Hundy P since the inception of Humble and Fred. P.S. Go easy on Dan. I'm sure he now realizes the difference between prostates and peepees. All right.
Prostates and peepees and cuffing. Okay, well, very good. I got one that just came in. I think it's interesting.
Hi, guys.
Subject, the good old hockey game, and it's kind of based on what Dan was just talking about, the Moose Jaw Warriors. This is from Jeremy Scott. He says, of course, hi, guys. Congratulations, Howard. I see your Moose Jaw Warriors were victorious in their WHL championship. I guess you'll be heading home for the parade. I will not. And like you and Fred, I too have felt shame at pointing out that Dan Duran is older than fire. Sorry, Dan. And that's from Jeremy Scott. I'm thrilled for the Warriors. My dad, Papa Lou, was a season ticket holder when the team played at the old Moose Jaw Civic Center. I don't believe my father was alive when the new rink was built. Big controversy when the new rink was built in downtown Moose Jaw.
I saw it.
But that's where the Warriors play, Moose Jaw Warriors, and it's very exciting. When I was a kid, we didn't have a WHL team. We had a junior A team.
Right.
And then I guess there was a couple teams in that league. There was the Swift Current Broncos, Prince Albert Raiders, and then the Moose Jaw Warriors, yeah.
You know, this is when it really pays off for a community like Moose Jaw. Obviously, you don't have a professional franchise, but something like that really brings the town together.
It's
and
huge.
I'm being serious.
I know.
Serious and genuine when I say this. Because during the Memorial Cup, that town will be, beside itself with excitement and everybody. And I'm sure they'll probably have a viewing area where people will be able to go and watch the games, and it's good. It's good for a community.
I bet you they would. I don't know, but do teams now can show the game in the arena?
Sure. Yeah. That's probably what
they'll do. Yeah. I won't read the whole email, but Jeffrey Kilborn just also said, hey, just wondering if you're jumping on the bandwagon to cheer for a team that can actually win in the playoffs. A little dig against your Leafs. Also pointing out that the Moose Jaw Warriors have now advanced to the Memorial Cup. And for people who don't know, so it's the winner of the WHL, which is the major junior league in Western Canada, the OHL, and the Quebec League, right? Mm-hmm. So,
yep.
So the Portland Winterhawks would be in the WHL? Because that's the team that they beat to get into the Memorial Cup.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I think London just eliminated Oshawa last night to be the Ontario. And I don't know what's going on in the queue, as they call it. And then I guess if the tournament's in Saginaw, the home team gets to play as well. So that makes up your 4 teams. And they have a little round robin, and then the top 2 teams play for the championship.
That's right. I forgot about that component, that the team that's hosting gets a bye into the actual tournament.
And that's why they wait a while before announcing who will host, because they want to make sure the team's okay, right? You don't want the worst team in junior hockey to be hosting and become part of the championship. So it's a pretty good system they have, and it makes sense to have the home team there for ticket sales.
Yeah, I'd say. And these arenas now, they're about they're in the 4,000, 5,000, and 6,000 seat range.
By the way, did you hear that Brampton has reacquired a team? The Mississauga Steelhawks are going to move to Brampton for next season.
I did not know that.
Mississauga loses their team, and Brampton regains a team to play in the.
What was the original? What was the original Brampton junior
Battalion.
team? Battalion, right? Which I thought was a great name, by the way.
Yeah, they moved to North Bay. They're still the Battalion.
That's a cool name for a hockey team. All right, here we go. We've got more to come, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, subject matter influencers by influence. Okay, and this is from Jamie Sobel. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
He says, I'm catching up on the pod and just got to the few shows where you berate Dan for thinking these new young influencers are disingenuous. He is actually correct, and I will try to keep it short. Well, then Jamie doesn't keep it short. There's a big, long email.
Very long for Grandpa.
And what he is saying, basically, is that the numbers are fudged, or the numbers, they screw around with the numbers, and these influencers end up with, an audience maybe they don't deserve. And I can't argue that point. Jamie seems to know more than we do, or I do, and I take your word for it. He says it's very disingenuous. They do not put the work in. They buy their way in, is what Jamie says. And to that I say, cool.
I think I read it. It is very lengthy in detail, but it is. It makes a lot of sense what he's saying. That you can, go online and increase your social media presence. Listen, we did it when we first started.
Yep.
We had a very big following in Chechnya. Or whatever. And then, it's not real, but we never used it for evil. We just used it to make it look like we had a following.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. It happens. What gets me is like Facebook and Twitter, and I know a couple of people in particular. They have this huge following, and then all their postings might have like one comment.
No, I know.
Or no comment. And
exactly.
Like, these two do not go together.
Yeah.
If you have 90,000 followers, you'd get a few more comments than this.
Now, Charlie's account with the dog, which at its peak had nearly 300,000 followers, is now down to about 250,000. But you could tell they're real because when they would post something with the dog,
right,
they'd have 20,000 comments or 20,000 likes and 3,000 comments. Like, it was massive. But what you said there is, there's some accounts you and I know that their response doesn't match their amount of supposed followers.
It's just painfully obvious, especially when you're posting something somewhat controversial and there's like one comment or two comments, and as I say, there's like 90,000 people following you. No.
Let's move on. This is from Doug Cochran, and the subject line, question for you. He says, morning, gents. But we know he means,
hi, guys.
Is there any hope, he says, as a question, if someone close has been kidnapped by the conspiracy cult? Or do you just write them off and walk away? There should be deprogramming services. You know what I'm talking about? Those who pat themselves on the head for being awake, eschewing mainstream media while guzzling unsubstantiated crap from dubious, semi-anonymous sources. Anyway, he says it seems like a hopeless task, like arguing religion. What do you think? Cheers is his sign-off. Doug. Is there any hope for someone close that has been kidnapped? Well, during the pandemic, as those people like to call it, when I say we, Fred and I knew one person in particular, close to a close friend of ours, who went that way, who went the anti-vax, it's all a deep state conspiracy, etc. You know the drill. And it was very upsetting to the family. Some of the fallout from it, I think, is what those people don't realize is if you're not going down that rabbit hole with them, and you know who I'm talking about. If you don't go down that rabbit hole with them, then it splits the family. Another person who I'm pretty close with, whose brother completely went that way, but they were still close, family get-togethers and such. And I asked him, what do you guys do when you're in the same room? And he said, we just never bring it up. We just never bring up anything to do with politics or the pandemic. So to answer his question, I would say, I don't know if there's any hope. I think all you can do is try and remain friends. What are your thoughts?
Well, I think, as we've learned over the past few years, I've learned with those people that you described, it seems every anti-vaxxer seems to have a story behind them. Being a little unstable, maybe flirting with depression, some mental health issue. And so you come away going, well, wait a minute, there's a pattern here. Everybody that's an anti-vaxxer, there's some other issue going on in their life. And I could sit there and, give several examples, but why? That's just been my experience. So is there any hope? Probably not, because it goes deeper than the actual vaccine, is what I would say.
I love that. You're right, and yeah, I think that's all we have to say about it. But no, that's very, very. I forgot that part. There always seems to be some story behind it.
Yes,
certainly with the ones that we've met up close. All right, over to you, sir.
Hi guys.
Subject matter: a shout out from Caledon. This is from Sean Martins.
Email.
He says, "Hi guys.
Hi guys.
Just finished listening to Monday's show. This is a couple of Mondays ago, and I was thinking about what Fred said about Caledon residents looking down on Bramptonians. Oh, yes, they do. Now, I moved to Caledon 8 years ago because I needed to build an associate bungalow on a decent-sized plot of land. Great! And at the time, it was the only place I could afford to build that was still in Peel Region. But I totally understand where Fred's coming from, as I also grew up in Toronto, Mississauga, and I had a stint in Brampton. But when Fred mentions tree huggers, he had discovered, they're an older set of residents that can't deal with change, and unfortunately, it doesn't matter where you go, we're all experiencing drastic changes. And again, that's the point. I mean, everybody wants progress to stop when it's convenient for them. So the way I look at it, I just think my two sons that have a future ahead of them, and I always quote by saying, it's their turn to deal with this. And by the way, my insurance also went up moving from Mississauga to Caledon just because it's closer to Brampton.
Wow.
Your answer to why, have you seen how they drive in Brampton? I know what he's talking about. And he says, that calls for a Darren. He
hold on.
That.
That's funny. Hang on. That's our second yee of the day. We have a 2 yee limit, by the way.
And Sean says heart rate 72, bowel movement routine.
Excellent work. And yeah, it should come as no surprise that insurance rates are set by the community you live in because of the community you live in, and their driving habits will affect it. It's not racism. It's just, what do they call those? What is that thing that insurance is based on? Not adjustments, but...
probability.
Yeah, but there's a name for it.
Oh. What is it you're looking for? Describe it again.
You know, when they do these sort of sociological predictions of
okay.
Anyway, I'll think of it hopefully before the end of the program. All right, let's move on.
Hi, guys.
This is from Martin Lai. Subject line, getting old. And Martin says, he doesn't say hi, guys, but Martin's the type of person that it's inferred.
Hi, guys.
Because we were talking about getting old, and he says, I think this was a week ago, I visited my uncle who's 83. He pees standing up. I guess we were talking about, who were we talking to? Was it you? Somebody was saying they pee sitting down now?
Yeah, somebody mentioned it, and I said, yeah, more often than not, I do, especially
Really?
if I get up in the night, I just go sit down.
You sit down and pee.
Well,
Yeah, I'm not there
I
yet.
might fall over.
He says, Martin continues, he says, my brother, 60, sits as I do, 63. So there you have it. There's a cross-section, bowel movements, regular, resting heart rate, 76.
You know, decades ago now, one of our producers, Shawarma, Jeff Dometz,
Yeah.
Jeff Shawarma, he, like in his 20s, he used to tell us, whenever I have a pee, I sit down. It's just something I've always done. And then we mocked him accordingly.
Oh, yes, we did.
And we brought it up on the show all the time that he was some kind of little wuss that had to sit down and pee all the time. And now here I am in my 60s, and it's like, oh, now I get it.
All right. Well, thank you, Martin, for your response. It is much appreciated. Freddie?
Hi, guys. Hi, guys.
Subject matter. Hi, guys. This is from Nancy McLeod Elder, a frequent visitor. Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
She says Farmer Adam is hard at work, planting soybeans. Corn is next, then the harvest of the winter wheat. Farmer Adam listens to the show every day, and I wondered if you could surprise him with a quick shout-out. Of course we can. With thanks from his in-laws, Ray and Nancy.
Aw.
Of course. Mm-hmm. So Farmer Adam, they're the backbone of the country, Howard, the farmers.
Oh, that's right.
If it wasn't the farmers, we wouldn't eat.
They say farmers feed families.
Yes, they do.
I'm surprised, though. Not surprised. I'm glad you read that, but that wasn't one of your scheduled to-be reads.
So why did you send it to me?
I didn't.
Oh. So why can't... What's wrong with me reading it?
It's nothing's wrong at all, but that was sent to both of us, but that's not in the emails. So I don't think you understand me.
No.
It doesn't
Is there
matter.
something wrong with it?
No, there's nothing wrong with it at all. But now you've got an extra email. So you have to decide whether you're going to read it or not.
There's one here I can
Or you can
eliminate
just
because
eliminate
it really doesn't make sense.
Excellent. That's all I'm asking you. I'm just saying, be aware.
Okay.
And who is that from again?
I'm scared.
Oh, don't be scared. Who is that from? Nancy? Mm-hmm. Nancy and Adam. What's their last name?
I just said it. Elder something. Okay. Nancy McLeod Elder. Yes.
McLeod Elder. Okay. All right. Nancy and Adam McLeod Elder. All right. Mm-hmm. All right. So, yeah.
No.
What?
Ray and Nancy delivered this email about Farmer Adam. So
Okay,
Ray and
so
Nancy.
it's Ray and Nancy.
McLeod Elder, yes.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. All right. Now we're back on track.
Hi, guys.
Hi, guys.
Beer broke down email.
This is from Johnny Shezekly. Szekely. Subject line, boop-a-doop. And he says, hi guys. Because he's not a monster. Is Boop-a-Doo a character that only shows up whenever Dan's not around? Kind of like Pokeroo on the polka dot door. Boop-a-Doop had me in tears. Mm-hmm. And that's when I was doing that thing where Dan is like, boop-a-doop-de-doo. He just finishes it with no vital signs, but he does sign off with the Hundy P salute, stay strong. And we thank you, Johnny. Thank you, Johnny. Ready?
Hi, guys.
Johnny.
Hi, guys.
This is one that really wasn't an email for the show, but I think it should be because it has emerged as being very timely. Okay, so the subject matter is Humble and Fred potential guest.
Oh yeah,
and this is from Dwayne Hickey,
longtime listener of that Dwayne Hickey,
and he says, "Hi guys."
Hi guys.
He says, "I would highly recommend you reach out to Andrew Holmes." And have a conversation about sleep. He is based out of Ottawa and has appeared on CTV Ottawa regularly, so he is well versed in media relations. The clinic has units mailed out to clients who perform their sleep tests in the comfort of their own bed. The test cost is covered by work benefits usually, so I'm trying it out this weekend as I'm 53 and curious about my sleep or lack thereof. We had a lunch and learned that this guy is very, very interesting to listen to.
Interesting.
So, anyway, the point being, I think we should follow this up because, as you explained to me this morning before the show, that you're struggling right now with sleep.
Yeah, the last couple of weeks I've been on a terrible run because, and it's bugging me because for the last couple of years, like the last year especially, has been some of the best sleep that I've had almost ever. I don't know whether it's to do with drinking, quitting smoking weed, but the last couple of weeks have been just brutal. Like I woke up this morning, it was 4:20, and I've been up ever since. Now, Dan was, and by the way, it's also timely because of Dan Daru has been struggling as well.
Wow.
He's been having a lot more. He was staying at my house a couple weeks ago. And after the show, I was doing something with Stan, and I came back in the house, and I was like, Dan, where are you? And he'd gone back to bed like at 10 o'clock in the morning for a Dan Duran nap.
Yeah, his 20-minute naps, which I notice, they used to be 20 minutes, but now they're longer. His 20-minute naps are.
Well, he's not getting as much sleep.
Afternoon.
I know.
No, yeah.
So we're going to book that guest if we can. I just saw from a note from Toronto Mike, and so
here's another thing that Dwayne says as part of this. He said, when I put in my request for a sleep test, this guy personally called me, answered my questions, and he said, during our conversation, I happened to mention your show, and he said he would be happy to speak to you guys. So thanks for doing that for us, Dwayne.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
Guy. Yeah.
So here's a word I was trying to remember when we were talking about insurance just a second ago, and I was talking about how, in different jurisdictions, insurance rates are different based on... But there's a thing that insurance is based on, and it's they're actuaries, tables. But that's for and what actuaries do is they predict basically how long somebody in a certain population group will live, and insurance rates are based on actuary tables. Right. But at the moment, I did not have access to that word, and now it's back. This one is from
Hi guys.
Kevin House. Of course he says, hi guys.
Hi guys.
It hasn't come up on your pod in a while, but I just came across a very interesting podcast about Ozempic. I thought you might like it. Look up the podcast Diary of a CEO and search for the Ozempic expert episode. It is really fascinating and scary. It was very neat when they discussed the Japanese education system and how they treat diet and food education in the school system. That is interesting. It really is how it's interesting to me how different cultures treat how they educate their children about sort of everyday life stuff. Like, wouldn't that be great in our school systems if you really were educating kids about the real world and how food works? And yeah.
No, I get it.
Kevin says BM's regular heart rate, comfortable 65. All right. Do you have one more to go? Because I do have. I have one more. Do you have another one?
No, actually, I've done 5. Well, there's one here I guess I can read. Go ahead.
Because I've got the one from Mike.
Okay, I'll just do this quick one.
All right.
Hi guys. Hi guys.
Subject matter: Arnold Schwarzenegger. This is from Michael Officer. That's his last name, Officer.
Officer Mike.
Wow. Hi guys.
Hold on, sorry. I was just reading.
Hi guys.
Officer Mike says, you were talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger being in Elora, Ontario. I thought you might appreciate this video of a talk he gave over a year ago. Very powerful stuff. There's a connection there, a link there, and we could play it for you or put it up on Facebook, and you can go there if you want.
Just look it up. I think it went viral. It's a very famous thing he put out a year ago about it. Just being kind to each other. Just Google Arnold Schwarzenegger kindness video or whatever.
Right, and further to that, I received a note. Maybe I mentioned this on the show. Maybe I didn't. From Tony Clement, whose daughter was actually working on the movie in Elora that Arnold was part of.
No, you did not mention that. Tell me that story.
Yeah, well, that's the story. He said, just so you know, my daughter's up there in Elora right now working on the set of Arnold's movie. So I thought that was interesting.
And that is interesting.
Thrilling for her.
Yeah, he's one of those people, I think, if you saw in person, it would be a bit, even for us who've met a lot of famous people, it would be a bit unnerving to see him in person.
Oh, yeah, he's huge.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say. And, nobody, do you know anybody that doesn't like Arnold Schwarzenegger? He's one, you could take a lot of maybe actors or whatever, and people might have a problem or not like them or for whatever. I don't know. Arnold's one of those guys. I'm not even big on all those movies he did, but I like the guy.
He's in a different category.
Even though he banged his maid and got her pregnant. But hey,
who hasn't? Come on. Mm-hmm. Come on. Let's be, it's just you and I here. Come on. Who hasn't done that? And our final email, the subject line is happy people. It's from our friend and supporter Mike Hanifin. Of course, he didn't write hi guys, but we know he meant to.
Hi guys.
Watching the Facebook version of today's show, yesterday's show. And this is one show that really is worth watching on Facebook to see how genuinely happy everyone is. I've never seen Dan so happy when you described his new trailer home. Howard, so happy when describing his tournament win. Then he puts in brackets, congrats on that. And Fred, happy for both of them. And also happy describing Dan's kindness in solving Fred's problem, with opening the Tin Palace. Now, get back to bitching.
I was going to say, I love that because it does display that you and I are capable of that emotion.
Exactly.
It does live within us somewhere. And yesterday it popped its little head out. Right? It popped its little head out. And
that's right. It said hello to everyone.
Said hello, and then it went quickly back in and, was taken over by the Seawood and rubbing rockets.
Yeah, but I got to be honest with you, that made me very, very happy.
Oh, that's true. That's true. That's a different kind of happy.
Yeah, the beginning of the program made me very, very happy.
It made Dan unhappy. Dan was literally squirming in his seat when we were asking him to say that word.
I know.
God, he's a prince. He's just so true to his morals.
But, I think now, knowing him as I do, I think he's, part of that now is his bit. This is his default bit that he just won't go along with it.
Right.
And that's his thing. Mm-hmm. That's where he's sort of carved out a corner, and that's where he's going to live.
The preacher's boy.
The preacher's boy, blah, blah, blah. Uh-huh. Well, before he returns and we, co-opt him into another, the devil's conversation, how about we take care of a little bit of business, my friend. Hang on a second. Let me get you some music. Oh, here's something for you. Hold on. Okay, can't play that. This is a good one.
Oh, nice. Timnit, excuse me. Tim Niblett is a portfolio manager. Raymond James, a member of the Canadian Investors Protection Fund. Yesterday, Sherpa J was on the show. And over the past couple of weeks, we've been covering the 3 core aspects to retirement planning. Yesterday, we dealt with mental wellness, which was very, very important when you're planning. Fitness and family health, all that stuff is part of it. It's not just doll hairs. It's, it's having the right frame of mind to look towards your retirement, do the right things that make you happy, and continue your health through your golden years, so to speak. Very, very important aspect. Hey, and don't forget, if you have a portfolio and you're not quite sure it's performing to the level it should, you can talk to Sherpa J or the Retirement Sherpa, Tim Niblett, and they'll have a look at it for you and give you an assessment. Are you on track, or you could use some work? You might want to try a new guy. They could be your new guys. You get it. RetirementSherpa.ca.
And maybe part of your portfolio planning with our Sherpa or yours is the company Boron One. Find out what's happening with this unbelievable company. And it really is, as I've mentioned, difficult to comprehend. The variety of uses of boron in construction, in manufacturing, in medicine. You've heard me give you the whole spiel. Science, pharmaceuticals, telecommunications. You know what? There's even boron in space travel. Space! So you can see that a company that can take boron out of the ground like Boron One might be, at least be curious to have a look at what they're up to. And to do that, go to boron1.com. Then you go to the news section and find out that there is quite a bit of news going on, like very recent news. As recently as a couple weeks ago, they've announced an early warrant exercise incentive program. Go check it out yourself. Have our Sherpa or yours, and as always, we make no claims about stock prices, what may or may not happen with them. Check it out yourself. Boron is the company. Boron One, I should say, is the company. Boron1.com is where all the information lives. Airport. Yeah, man. So we talked a little bit about the Moose Jaw Warriors, but I had written down, and I know you haven't done the Bodog thing yet, but I did want to, well, actually, a couple things that are going on. The second men's golf major of the year just got started about an hour ago. The PGA Championship.
Yes, with Bodog, I'll be talking about the odds for that.
But I wanted to ask, and by the way, a new episode of Swing Thoughts will be out this weekend, where we talk about the mental performance of golf and such like that. But Freddie, I wanted you to bring us up to date, if you could, on where we're at with the NHL playoffs. Who's left and who's playing who?
Edmonton and Vancouver, I believe they're ready for Game 5. All the other series are entering Game 6, I believe. Colorado and Dallas, Boston and Florida, the Rangers and Carolina. So it's very exciting, it seems. I haven't watched a lot, Howard.
Yeah.
I watched a bit of the Bruins and the Florida Panthers the other night.
So the Bruins seem to be holding their own with Florida.
Yes, and the Rat, Brad Marchand, has missed the last couple of games. Again, that phenomenon, one of your main players is out, the other guys seem to pick it up.
Is that his nickname? Marchand's nickname is the Rat?
No,
that's because Kenny Linsman's nickname.
Yeah, was the Rat. Yeah.
Also a little, pesky hockey player out of Boston.
Dougie Gilmour had the most stark name in hockey. I think Killer.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't get more.
It's a great
more
nickname.
Serious than that.
Yeah. So, but I'd like to have one of our Canadian teams. When's the last time a Canadian team was in? Excuse my ignorance. In the Stanley Cup Finals.
Just a couple of years ago. Remember, Montreal upset the Leafs. It was 21-22.
No, in the Stanley Cup Finals.
In the finals, yeah, they were.
Montreal upset the Leafs.
Yeah, remember during COVID? Leafs were up 3-1 and shit the bed?
No, but in the Stanley Cup Finals. They didn't play the Leafs in the finals.
No, they upset the Leafs.
Yes.
I'm sorry. They upset the Leafs in the quarterfinals, whatever it was, and then went on to play in, you said, when's the last time a Canadian team played in the Stanley Cup Finals? They said Montreal. The year they upset the Leafs.
Okay, sorry, you confused me there. So that was only 4 or 5 years ago that Montreal was in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It was the bubble year. Remember, they had the Canadian division. It was sort of weird, but Montreal emerged. as the Canadian champion. It was supposed to be the Leafs. They fucked that up as usual.
Yeah.
And
did you do any more investigating this hit? Apparently, cross-checking.
No.
Okay, well, it's fine. We don't need to bring it up. It's no big deal.
No, I haven't.
It's all right.
I just haven't.
Another thing that you brought up, I think a week ago, and you had said something about you'd seen a clip of Seinfeld. Mm-hmm. I got a lot of Seinfeld clips because he's been on everything, so I've sort of saved a bunch of stuff. But you brought up something, and Seinfeld was quoting Marcus Aurelius, who's a very famous Roman emperor, who also famously sort of started or was credited with being the beginning of the Stoic sort of philosophy of wisdom, what have you. And he famously has written this book called Meditations, which I have here on my phone. It's just one of those things. It's not about meditating. It's just about sort of the wisdom of how to live your life. And you had mentioned this thing that Seinfeld, you had heard Seinfeld say. And I said, well, I saw the same clip. So here's what we were talking about.
Okay.
It's Jerry talking about why you should stop worrying about the everyday things because everything fades away. And make sure I got that up. Hang on. And here we go.
You're worried about is going to be gone like that. The people that are criticizing you, they're going to be gone. You're going to be gone. All this hand-wringing worry and concern over how are people viewing me, and someone said something bad about me and you get so upset about it is wasted time and energy. Marcus Aurelius says your only focus should be on getting better at what you're doing. So he tells you, do not pursue other people's recognition as an end goal in itself. What you pursue is the quality of the work that you're doing, not the result of people liking it, hating it. The hell with that. Likes. What are likes? Other people liked it. If you're pursuing that, your train's off the track. Focus on what you're doing. Get better at what you're doing.
So, I've heard him. So that was the original clip. Mm-hmm. And, we talked about him yesterday that, you were saying sometimes he can come off arrogant or whatever.
Like a know-it-all.
But, one thing about him is that, and I've heard him talk about this with other stand-up comics, about how he never judges how he's done by how the audience reacts. Mm-hmm. Because as he said to other comics, what do they know? What do they know about comedy? I'm an expert in comedy. And if they don't like something, I don't, he says, I don't change what I'm doing based on whether they liked it or not. I change on whether I liked it or not. Based on, like obviously he's never going to bomb, but he had talked about having not such a great, set one time recently. Mm-hmm. And of course everyone laughed, but he knew that he wasn't in the pocket, that he wasn't at his best. But that's a very rare thing, not to be a performer and not worry about what other people think of your performance.
Yes. Not easy.
Yeah. But I love what he says there about, that. And that's what you brought up, is that all these things that we worry about, all this hand-wringing over the day-to-day, all of it's going to be gone soon, Well,
again, when I work with Pete and Geets, Pete, who's dead now, I've had this saying all the time, fuck it, soon we'll all be dead. And I used to laugh when he'd say that, and now he's dead, and it's funny, more and more people in your life are dead, and you look back and you think, all the things that concern them, they worried about, and nothing means nothing now, and we're all approaching that point in our lives, too, and it's, and you talk about sleep, Howard, how people often, you lose sleep and you try to put your finger on it, but I would say, 95% of the time, it's an overactive mind, like thinking too much, waking up in the night and having something pressing on you or worried about something or something you got to get to. When you try to tell yourself that, okay, lying in bed here right now, there's really nothing I can do about it right now. So.
Oh, no, absolutely.
I'll try and drift off.
I can tell you in my case, the last couple of weeks, it's not been worrying about something at all, but it's like waking up and just being
worrying
awake.
about waking up.
Well, yeah, not yet, but soon.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you even said, listen, you said it earlier in the show, I'll be dead. But it's true that, like, for instance, why not just say this? Why not put on an English accent and say the C word and not worry about it? Because, certainly at Dan's age, who's, what is he, in his 90s, why not just say it?
Geez.
Like, why not just say it? Because what does it matter? Soon we'll all be dead.
Delisa's mom turned 90 last Friday, and I was thinking, if Dan ever broke up with Lisa, he could
Exactly.
Delisa's mom, and then, he could, take her to the grocery store and stuff like that, and doctor's appointments.
Well, when Delisa's mom turned 90, and like Dan and they went to kindergarten together, and you'd think by now you'd be. Oh, look! Hi,
South
Dan.
Africa.
Hi, Dan.
Hi.
Hi, Dan.
Good to have me back. Yeah.
Good to have you back, Daniel. Mm-hmm. Are you ready to put on an English accent and say the C word to finish the show?
Yeah. Okay.
Wow, man.
Thanks for having me back. It's good to be here.
Good to have you back.
As always.
By the way, today, our email of the day, and they're such huge supporters of ours. I thought it might be fun for you next week to say, I'm Dan Duran from the Ray and Nancy McLeod Elder Zoom Studios. How you like them apples? Or is there something in your religion that's against couples with hyphenated names?
No, so it's Ray and Nancy McLeod Elder. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Good. All right. Well, we'll start it off right now.
Yeah, make that change. When we wrap this crap hole up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what? You know what, guys? I did want to share with you. I just about got scammed yesterday.
Oh, no. What? Not the great Dan Duran.
And you know what? I was just playing around with, one of these guys that calls, with, somewhere in India, probably, based on the accent. And, the phone number came up. It was weird. I just thought, okay, I've got some time. I'll play around. And here's basically the scam. And I bugged out of it just in time. There's two-factor authentication now. Mm-hmm. So you sign into something, and then on another device or your email, it gives you a code.
It sends you a code, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what had happened was this guy called and said, well, there's been a thing on, first it's the auto thing. Okay, press 1 if there's a problem. Hey, here's I'm just playing around. And he said, well, we'll send you a blah, blah, blah. He didn't do the proper authentication of who I was. And he just said, well, I'll send you a code. So he kind of knew my name, and things are starting to get a little bit weird because he called me Mr. Dan. And then, okay. And then he sent me a code. He said, just a verification code. So I'll send you a code and you read it back to me. And I thought, okay, well, what can it be? He knows he's phoned me. He knows that he can text on this number anyway. So he sent me the code. Now, it turned out that the code, he said he was from Amazon, by the way. As it turns out, it was Amazon sending me the code. And then I read the code back to him because he somehow, because he was trying to get into my account, it wanted the code so they could proceed. I read the code back to him. And so he could get into my account now on Amazon. I started, wait a minute. As I was doing this, I thought, I may have made a mistake here. And I logged into my account to see if an actual transaction that he was talking about was being made, and that I better change my password. I changed it right then and there. And then I saw there was another thing where you could sign out of all devices, and then he hung up as soon as I pushed that button.
What did you change your password to?
Well, capital Z.
That's right. Just let me check, Dan. Let me go check your password.
Q. Yeah, right.
Wow.
Anyway, so just keep an eye on that if you're...
keep an eye open. Keep an ear out.
And then I was looking at the call log on... There's an Amazon thing about sign-ins and stuff. You can see who did it. Some guy from somewhere in India had signed in at that point.
There's a basic rule of thumb here, and we're telling Delisa's mom this all the time, and Dan, you could reiterate once you start going out with her.
Yeah, exactly. When you rekindle your flame from years gone by.
Anytime they reach out to you and ask, you don't give information, because none of these companies, banks, none of them initiate a call and then ask for information. It's just not done. It's a basic rule of thumb. So the minute they call you and ask any level of information, you just quickly say, fuck off, you cunt. That's what you say.
Wow. Without the accent. Wow.
Well, that's how strongly I feel about these thieves.
Really?
These thieves.
So wait, so now that's in play if we have a strong opinion about something?
Yes, Howard.
Without the accent, though. You've got to put the accent back on.
Okay.
God damn it. I'm going to, you know what? I'm playing this for Delise. She's going to be very disappointed.
No, but it's, vulnerable people and old people. Every day in the paper you read about these older people getting sucked in by these slimy thieves. They would take the last $1,000 that an old person had.
Listen, and people listening who've seen the Beekeeper, the Jason Statham movie, like, did you know it was me and, was it you and I, Dan, that saw it?
Yes. Yeah, we saw it together.
Dan, you saw that movie with me. It's the whole premise is some old person like you gets sucked in to give up all their Amazon account information, and then Jason Statham has to go beat up everybody.
He has to kill everybody.
He has to kill everybody.
Yeah. And you know what they told me at Scotiabank?
No.
Even if it's actually, say, Scotiabank calling you, and they ask anything that you're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
They totally forgive you if you hang up on them, you swear at them. They understand that response because it's better that than get sucked in.
Yes. Well, yes, Fred. I don't think you should worry about whether or not Scotiabank forgives you for some behavior. But getting back to Dan's predicament, Daniel. Again,
yes.
now that you're in your late 80s, you have to be careful. You have to be careful.
I know. None of my personal information I ever would have given up. I just thought that he had, because he was texting me and I didn't.
But I'm surprised,
Daniel. I'm surprised at you, but not so. Again, the old Dan Duran wouldn't have fallen for this shit, but new old Dan Duran.
Really?
Like even to that level that he got roped in there yesterday. I'm surprised that Dan.
Well, I think Dan was just so flattered that the guy knew him. Oh, Mr. Dan, and Dan's like, well, you must have. Maybe you've seen.
You're the guy with the big dick. You're the guy with the big dick.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on a second. He's like, oh, you're the guy with the big dick from the movies that I've seen. And you're like, yes, I'm that Dan. And, it's very, very... And by the way, when you said you were playing around, I think you meant you were playing along.
Right.
That's probably what I meant.
Yes.
I play around with chicks.
Oh, fuck.
Okay, well, thanks for fixing that all up for me. No, but I was embarrassed, and I was embarrassed, and I called my son because he should be embarrassed. The account before too, and I said, "Okay, here's what just happened." Yeah. And he said, "He's worked on it together."
But I think if you don't mind, just give me your password now, and then I will keep track. Okay. I will keep track of your purchases. Well, listen, Edmonton Steve, who may be listening or not, but he got sucked in. He was leaving the house. He was going to go to Best Buy because the somebody at the CRA told him to give him a $2,000 Best Buy gift card. That, hey, there's one of the signs that you're being scammed. The CRA doesn't get paid in Best Buy gift cards.
I can't. I know a guy that got nailed, like two guys that got sucked in. And it was a guy in Delisa's family, and it was the guy at the convenience store said, "Why are you buying 2,000?" Knew him, he came in all the time. So he said, "Why are you buying 2,000?" He said, "This isn't one of those calls, is it?" He said, "I'm not even going to sell it to you. You're being ripped off." But he went down to the corner store to buy these gift cards or whatever. And it was like, to his credit, the convenience store guy said, "Hey, buddy, you're being scammed here."
Like, I've got my HST bill here. Hang on a sec. Let me see. Oh, yeah, right. It says pay online at one of your institutions or at Best Buy. Or at the Best Buy. You have that option, Dan. Anyway,
That's great to know. Yeah,
it's great to know.
Want our businesses to stay healthy. And,
That's right. Well, listen, man. All that matters, Daniel, is that you're safe and you're not harmed.
But
right.
Howard, you mentioned Stephen. I find that, like, and you know, I get, obviously he doesn't mind you telling it, but I can't. That connection I cannot make.
Well, you know, if you're
I'm sorry.
and,
What connection can't you make? That
going to buy gift cards,
right,
like that.
Yes,
I know you've told the story before, so it's not like I just. Knowing him the way I do, I'm surprised that he would even for a second entertain the thought that gift cards to pay taxes is a thing.
And to be clear, like a lot of things in my life, I don't know 100% if he wants me to tell that story over and over again. But anyway, that's, hey, like, you know what? I'm also the man puts on the English accent as a fucking cat. So, Daniel, you were saying, yes, maybe he was tired. And maybe he was tired. And you get nervous when somebody calls and it's not the, you know, you think, oh, am I going to be audited? And I don't want to take care of this as soon as I can. And if somebody from the CRA says, we need $2,000 or we're going to, you know, shut you down. Yeah, you go over it.
In that panic state, you some things that you reason.
But again, the default is, I'm going to hang up. Can I call you back to verify this?
Yeah.
Like, what's wrong with that? Or, oh, that's good to know. Hang up and then phone CRA right away or Revenue Canada and say, is this on the left? Like, I don't.
Well, if I may tell you a story from real life that happened to me just a few weeks ago. I got a call from the CRA, a nice woman who said, I'm calling from the CRA. I think I told you guys this. Maybe I didn't tell you on the air. And she said, I'm calling about your HST account. And I said, oh, are you? Mm-hmm. And we had an exchange, and I said, well, I tell you what, I'm not, I said to her right away, I don't want to have a talk. I don't want to have a conversation about this on the phone. Send it to me. She goes, I will, sir. I said, okay. But I said, we're done talking about it now. Send me this. Because of this recent experience. Sure. But I also called the number back, and it said Canada Revenue. But a couple of days later, I got the notice in the mail. She was on the level because we hadn't filed, our accountant hadn't filed it.
That's what you do.
But that's what you do, Dan.
Yes.
So once again, if you don't mind, again, it's just the three of us. Give Freddie and I your password. We keep it. We keep it.
And that's a good idea. You know, I might forget it.
Exactly. Dan, before we forget, shall we have the Dan Duran news?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it.
Or
when you want to do Bodog?
Right after Dan Duran news time.
Okay. Right.
Well, I'll tell you what. Before the Dan Duran news, why don't we hear from Bodog themselves, and then you do after.
Feeling caught in a neutral zone? When things start to go offside, you know it's time to play. It's easy to find your next favorite game at Bodog.net. Check out the latest sports odds and get free tips to help you score this hockey season. Visit Bodog.net today. #Make a play.
And just had fucking Dan Duran giving this guy his Amazon thing. The next thing he calls back, he says, hey, Dan, listen, do you have a gift certificate for the keg? Do you have can you get me a keg gift certificate? Please. Dan, are you emotionally okay to do the news? Because I know it's very upsetting.
Totally ready to go. Yeah, I've been just pre-reading a little bit of what my little story is.
Oh,
with the first thing out of my mouth is got to pronounce something, so I'm going to need to know.
Yeah. Will the C word be featured at any point during your newscast?
Not at all. No, this has nothing to do with that.
Do you know? Let me ask you this question. Would you say? Do you know what they do sometimes in football? In the NFL, after 3 downs, if they don't get a first down, sometimes they have to kick the ball. Do you know what that's called?
No. It's a kickback or something?
It's called a punt.
Okay.
So would you say punt?
Yeah, I like punt it down the road, sure.
Yeah, just punt. But just say punt. Don't say punt.
There's a bunt, right? There's
a bunt.
Yeah.
And then the baby of a litter of dogs is called the what?
That would be a bitch.
No, Dan. It's not a bitch. The baby of the litter is the runt of the litter.
The runt. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I lost track there.
Mm-hmm. You lost track of the words?
I wasn't. Yeah, the words are tough.
Words are tough for you, I know. Okay,
Yeah.
anyways, before...
I assume things and I don't listen.
So let's review. You'll say runt, punt, and bunt.
Yep.
But they all rhyme with the C word, Dan.
They do, but they're not the C word.
Okay.
Thanks for that investigative reporting. And
it's crazy how one letter can change.
One, for the sake of one consonant.
Letter can change the whole texture of the conversation.
Exactly.
Words matter. Words matter.
Yes,
right?
they do. Well, I want you to know, every time you say punt, Jesus thinks you're saying the other word.
Now, here's to a fella named Dan Duran, a hell of a guy with a hella big wang, the quintessential anchor man. His voice is nice and low. Dan Duran, the anchorman comes. As for credentials, he has none. Can't tell a headline from his bum, but his voice is nice and low. Dan Duran, the anchorman's here. He's prone to falling off his chair, but he's got a big wang, so he don't care, and his voice is nice and low.
My voice is nice and low.
And now live from Lisa's house.
Nope.
Live from Dan's trailer. Sorry. Words matter. Live from the palatial trailer of Dan Duran Industries. Here is live from the mini home that is Dan Duran's lakeside retreat. Here is movie anchor. Sorry, there's more music. There is movie anchorman and television series star. Daniel J. I won't say the C word. Guibert Duran. But Dan, we live in Canada. As one of the listeners on Facebook said, what do you call this thing we live in? What is Canada then?
A country.
You said it. You said country.
El Khalifa de Leon. Leon, yeah. El Khalifa de Leon. This is Spanish. It's a Mexican. Did I say it anywhere close to being right there?
Yeah, very good.
Oh, okay. So El Khalifa?
Keep going.
What did you just say to me?
I don't know. I'm just yelling random nonsense.
I thought you were correcting me.
Not at all. You're doing great, man. El, you're doing
He's been up
fantastic.
since 4:30. He's just yelling stuff randomly, making no sense.
True, man.
It is the only Mexican taco stand to get a Michelin star.
Wow.
What? Wow.
The first Mexican taco stand and the only one ever to get that coveted star from the French Dining Guide. Here's the thing. It's a business that's 10 feet by 10 feet. Most of it's a grill, and he makes tacos. He has 4 things on the menu, all of them tacos, all of them beef tacos. Mm. And whatever he does to the taco has won him one of those heavy, full-sleeve, pristine white chef jackets that the Michelin star people put out. And he got that yesterday.
Give me a crack at the name there again. What's it called? El Khalifa.
El Khalifa.
So,
D. Leon. Leo with a little thing on it.
Yeah, it's like the something of the lion.
Okay.
How good could, listen, I love tacos, and I've had great tacos in Mexico, but I'm just wondering, serious question, how good could the taco be to get a Michelin star? Like, what could you do to it? There's only about 4 ingredients.
Right. And it's like there's a sauce, and there's the meat, and there's the taco thing on the outside. I guess it has everything to do with how he does the beef. There's only one other kind of street meat or a stand like that in the world that they've ever done it, and it may have been I think it's a street food stand in Bangkok some years ago.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. You'll say Bangkok, but you won't say
in country.
Country. You'll say country. You'll say punt.
Yeah. Well, let's bunt that down the road. Anyway, I just thought you'd find it interesting.
That is, first of all, that is interesting, but. When you say country, what you're really you will say country, but will you say country where they grow?
They grow on trees, Dan.
That's right. In the UK, they grow on trees. Oh, look! There's a country. Interesting. I had no idea. There's quite the grove of countries around here. Look at Dan. Dan's losing it.
I know.
Look at our boy.
He wants out. He wants out.
He's actually laughing himself silly. Dan, are there any countries behind you?
Just ridiculous.
I know you guys have some bushes there, but is there any countries?
This is so juvenile. Why am I even laughing?
Of course it is.
You just caught on.
Oh, boy.
Hey, that street meat in Mexico. I've always been, and I haven't yet had street meat in Mexico, but I did not hesitate in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, here we go.
Weird, eh?
Here we go.
No, there was a little place across the street meat, and 2 or 3 places I went. Just people right on the side of the road dishing it up. I did it, but there's something about Mexico. I couldn't bring myself to do it.
I've had street food in Jamaica a couple times where they had a half
drum.
a drum with the jerk chicken.
Oh yeah,
I have had some street food in Mexico. Never had a problem with it.
Yeah,
but that's pretty impressive if you can make a taco so good.
Yeah,
like that place I took you, Dan. My favorite restaurant in Playa del Carmen. Which right now escapes me because I've been up since 4:15. But that place, I went there 2 or 3 times. I took everybody, my kids. I took you, my buddy Grant, my brothers, my brother and I went there. That had the best. That had the best tacos I'd had there. But I wouldn't say, I don't even know what a Michelin star taco would be.
Yeah, like to try one.
Yeah.
Well, it makes you want to go to Mexico City and say, well, how good could a Mexican taco be? If you're going to get a Michelin star on it.
Right.
Sure.
Mexico City is a cool place. People should, if you're traveling through Mexico, get the chance. Couple nights, 3 nights there. It's a neat place. It really is.
Okay, I just remember that it's called El Fagon. That's where we went.
Yes, I've been there. Yeah.
No, in Playa del Carmen.
I've been there. A couple of years ago.
Well, how come when I brought it up, like all through the winter, you never said I'd been there? I must have mentioned it a dozen times on the program.
I don't know if you mentioned the name. You just said my favorite taco place, maybe. But I've been there. Or if you did, it escaped me. Or at that particular moment, I didn't think it was appropriate to say, oh, I've been there. But yes, I've been there.
Okay.
It's appropriate now.
So you guys, we have to shut down the show now because Mike's here with some audio of old friends of mine talking shit about me.
What about Bodog?
Oh, hang on a second. Yes. How about this? Let's do 2 things at one time. Let's play the Toronto Mike theme as our Bodog background music. Here we go. Now.
Okay, PGA Championship, Howard said it's underway in the next few minutes, if not already underway. As you could accept, I guess. Scotty Scheffler, the favorite, at plus 475. Rory McIlroy, plus 600. And third would be Xander Schauffele. So you got Scheffler and
not Xander, just Xander Schauffele.
Schauffele, okay. He's plus 900, and then the rest of the field falls back. Rory McIlroy leaving his wife, apparently.
Yes.
People speculating whether that will help his game. Maybe there was some issues there.
It happened a few weeks ago, and he's won the last 2 tournaments he's played in. I wonder, and I'm going to go check this on Bodog, because a decent bet would be if El Tigre makes the cut. And I'm going to say, it pains me to say this, I do not think he will. He won a PGA championship at this golf course like 20 years ago. But I think that would be, if you're a Bodog bettor, go check out the Bodog odds on whether Tiger makes the cut or not. That's a good bet.
Okay, Rory, he's playing better now that he's left his wife. She must be one real, I won't say it.
Well, I think that's taking it too far now.
Okay. All right. Whether you're a sports bettor, a horse racing fan, a poker or casino player, Bodog, your number one source of online gambling entertainment, from their industry-leading odds, world-class sportsbook, to their fully loaded casino and racebook, they've been providing Canadian players with an unparalleled gaming experience since 1994.
And many years ago, in a quaint neighborhood in Toronto, this gentleman was born, and now here he is producing the Humble and Fred Show all these years later. He is Toronto Mike, and we welcome him to our microphones. Even though he's been up for hours himself, he's producing podcasts 24 hours a day. It's quite impressive.
Good morning, everybody.
Hi, Mikey.
Hey, at the risk of pissing off my good friend Humble Howard, I do have another piece of audio. Is that okay?
Oh,
not really. No, you're not playing anything else on the show.
Well, listen, your producer's overruling you, because I had a phone call earlier this week with the former Q107 morning show host, John Derringer, and I was asking Derringer what he thinks of Humble Howard. Can I just play this clip, please?
Sure.
Are you serious?
No, he's not. He's doing a bit.
John Derringer on Humble Howard.
Humble and Fred, we ain't got no college.
There you go. See, he's doing a little bit. Sweet.
Doing a bit.
It's funny.
I've learned my lesson.
Hey, how do you... hey, I have a question for you. How do we block that guy in our Facebook thing? Can you just do it for me, please?
Who?
The Biden guy?
The guy that keeps... Just go block him and tell him to go fuck himself.
What's he doing?
For the last couple of days, he just starts putting in all sorts of weird Biden fucking shit.
Happily block that cunt.
Hey, there you go.
Hey, Mike. That would be a coup for you. Getting Derringer to come out, out from under his rock and to explain himself. Is that in the near future of...
I don't have a relationship with the man, so I highly doubt it. I'm more likely to get more Stafford visits than a Derringer visit. But if I do get Derringer on, I'm going to ask him about Humble Howard for 90 minutes. That's my plan.
Oh, Mike, come on now.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Howard.
The word cunt, which I'm happy to use, I just don't use it to refer to a woman. So I'll use it like instead of the word dink, for example. I'll say, instead of saying Humble Howard's a dink, I'll say he's a cunt. But I won't.
It just keeps getting better and better, Mike.
That's it.
The thing is, here's the problem with a lot of people that aren't funny. Here's the problem. When you've never been funny, it's hard to try and be funny. It really is. And I listen, I feel for those people, because when it's not in your nature, it can be difficult. You know what I'm saying? And when people who aren't funny, like have never been funny, no one's ever thought they were funny, when they try and be funny, it can just be like, too bad. That person doesn't have, because everyone has different gifts, right, Freddie?
So what's your point here?
I thought you were going to stop picking on Dan Duran.
You know what my point is.
That's funny.
I know. My point is, it's just better to try and stay in your lane, which is the not funny lane. Some people have great hair. Some people are funny. You were blessed with great hair. Your hair is fucking funny. Your hair is funnier than you are. Anyway, next week we are respecting Queen Victoria, and so we will not be here on Monday. This is the long weekend is actually earlier this year. Why is that again?
It's always the third Monday of the month.
Yeah.
Wow. What the hell is what's that all about?
That's how
it's just what they do.
But what about, so the May 2-4 weekend is now the May 2-0 weekend?
Yeah.
Correct.
That's some bullshit.
Rarely does it fall on the 24th.
All right.
It's like Labor Day is the first Monday of, September, and on and on and on.
And today is sad.
Figure it out.
Today's a sad day. I just did. Today's a sad day because there will be no more of these days until the end of the summer.
Right. That we should be clear. No more live Thursday shows until September.
Right.
I'll be alone each and every night while you're away. Don't forget to write. Bye bye so long.
Bye bye.
Bye bye so long. See you in September.
That's right. Grandpas are taking off for the summer. If you're new to the program, and I don't know how many people are, but we've been doing this now. I think we started, I don't remember, a couple of years ago. So next week we'll be on Tuesday and Wednesday. Following that, though, we'll be on, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then once Labor Day hits, we will get back to the serious business of running this program.
Yeah, the years fly by, don't they? It's hard to believe we're at that point again.
Yeah, what will it be in September when we get back here? We'll be running up to the 13th anniversary of when we started this podcast. Mm-hmm. So thank you for all your patience. And we still have, I think there's still another Aging with Energy show that we're going to release soon, next month, I guess.
First Thursday of every month, Aging with Energy.
Fantastic news.
So who's on the show next week?
Yeah.
So Jeff Lumby is he's got a recurring. I think he's the third Tuesday of every month if you're tracking Lumby. So Lumby's on Thursday, and then Ralph Benmergui returns on. Sorry. Jeff Lumby's on Tuesday,
yes.
And then Ralph Benmergui's on Wednesday.
Yes. All right.
How did Merrick? Because he had to be sort of scheduled or whatever. Is he coming up?
Yeah, the 28th. So he's 2 weeks from today, Jeff Merrick. And then, this is fun, I think, after Jeff Merrick on Wednesday, the return of Maureen Holloway, speaking of Derringer.
Oh, okay. She's always good for something. Mm-hmm.
Well, the listeners enjoy Auntie Mo, as they call it.
Yes, she's funny.
Yes, she is. She's really funny.
She's got some comedy.
She has some. We call it chops. She's got some comedy chops. All right. Thanks very much for all your patience and listening. We're all up to date. Boon. We will. So will you pop in on Wednesday's show? Is that going to be what you're going to do?
Yeah.
Yeah, when I can, of course. If the invitation's open, I love hanging with you guys.
All right. Well, we look forward to that. And everyone enjoy your extra long Humble and Fred long weekend. Daniel, this is your last chance.
Well, thank you for that offer. I really appreciate the opening, but I'll stand my ground with where I think things should be. I'm happy with where I'm at.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Yeah, we don't. Here's the thing. We like it when you play around. I mean, play along.
Okay, playing along.
Playing along. Around. All right, my friends. Have a great weekend, everyone. Stay safe, for crying out loud.
Yeah. This week. No, I don't even know what I'm doing anymore. This episode.
Yes, this weekend episode.
This episode of Humble and Fred was brought to you by the Retirement Sherpa, the Chambers Plan, More on One, Bodog, and Lender's Choice Mortgages. For contests and comments, we read the emails, as you know and have just heard. Humble and Fred at humbleandfredradio.com. That's humbleandfred at humbleandfredradio.com. Tell us what you think. And here's something you can do. Help us out by subscribing, sharing an episode, or rating the podcast would help us. For Humble and Fred from the Ray and Nancy McLeod Elder Zoom Theater, I'm Dan Duran. And remember, don't punt or bunt. That's procrastination. So, oop-a-doo. Now go out there and enjoy every goddamn day.
Where's that? I got two turntables and a microphone. Where's that? I got two turntables and a microphone. Where's that? I got two turntables and a microphone.